Back Row Ministry of the World Premiere, Mr. Mahdi coming at you live and direct. So, got a chance today to see the movie Civil War. It's a movie I really was looking forward to. Thought some of the trailers were just hilarious. Some of the statements, some of the characters were making. I say, well, yeah, that's a very hilarious statement. Let me go check this movie out. So it's not a coincidence that this movie comes out on April the 12th. Remember, the Civil War here in the United States started on April the 12th, 1861. It lasted to, I believe, May of 1865. So we're about 163 years removed from the last Civil War here in America. Of course, that Civil War was said to be about, you know, the ending of slavery. Many say that it was about finances. Um, it's always a debate of what the Civil War was actually about. We know what it achieved. It came with the end of slavery. The Emancipation Proclamation came prior to that, and the Civil War after was fought. Secessionist states were put down, and the end of slavery came from that ratification full of the Union, and America pretty much looks like it does today. So, what if we have another Civil War? How would it look? What would it be about? Is the question. And I think a lot of people might go in with that idea of how the writer of the screenplay, how the director shoots the movie, what's going to be the feel, the tone of the movie. And, you always go in, you don't know what the movie's about. Only thing you see is Civil War. So you can have an idea, but you really don't know from what perspective the film is going to come at you. So this is not a left and right story. We're not talking about Republicans and Democrats. We do have the secessionist idea. What if some states want to secede from the Union? So we do see that pretty much the Union has fell apart, but we really don't get a true idea if the Union has fell apart. We know that Florida and California are the big dogs since they are the two biggest states in America. But no, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not Florida and California. It's Texas and California, the two biggest states. So Texas and California, we know they've split. They created this Western Front, but we don't understand, where the other states fall in this. We get some idea from one of the characters when a character says that he's from Florida, and then the other character states, "Oh, you're from Central America," as though Florida now is not a part of real America because this character is spatting about what's really a part of America in his dialogue. So we just don't know, and I think that's a good way of kind of presenting this because now you open it up that you now can start the get to the beginning of the Civil War, and that's probably going to be the next movie that comes after this. So a good way to kind of segue into Civil War to the beginning. They'll play around with that. They may give you a sense of how this thing started. Big part of this, and it's kind of presented through the lens of journalists, is that you're going to get various perspectives of the Civil War and you're going to see it from how wartime journalists see things. You have the good parts, the bad parts, and they just take pictures. That's what they're there for. And I think one of the characters said it best: "We just take the picture. Somebody else tells the story. We just want the picture." And you can't be shook as you go into trying to take this picture. So you're just seeing it from their perspective. You get many different perspectives. And as you go along with the movie, you see that pretty much everybody's just making up why they're doing what they're doing. The only bad guy we know is the president. The president is the only bad guy, and he has his idea of America. You have the Western Front; they don't like his idea of America. You got people who grew up in the same time with people just beating on them, and you know that's their idea of a civil war. Where you didn't talk to me when we were in school, as you might have thought you were better than me. So now I get a chance to purge, because now we throw those elements of the purge into this film. I'm just gonna beat the hell out of you, and I can kill you now, because it's okay. We're in the civil war, and that's what happens during war. If you think about the wars that have taken place throughout the centuries, they'll create a purpose, and we talk about like that 1984 perpetual war purpose. The media will continue to give you the purpose of the thing, but people after a while they don't even know why they're fighting. Think about World War II. Think about World War One. You can go through to any war, and you'll find stories where people were just renegades, just doing what they wanted to do. It totally had nothing to do with what the premise of the war was supposed to be. And that's what you get in this film. You really don't know who the good guys or bad guys are. They give you some semblance that the guys in the uniforms, well, they're the bad guys, but then you see they're the bad guys. And, you know, these other guys with the uniforms, they're good guys. You see military versus military, some military in uniforms, some military in regular clothes. Then we just got people just shooting at each other randomly, sniping at people. It's just utter chaos. Utter chaos. You got people, you got suicide bombers. You got some people who are trying to stay out of the situation. You got some people trying to act like things aren't going on, and they're protecting their communities, because we see people protecting communities. They just keep that crap up out of here. So you have an utter chaotic situation with really no true end in sight, because even after they become civil, like one of the main characters says, the Texans and the Californians are probably going to start fighting too. So even after that, we'll have perpetual war. So there's nothing civil about this. So don't go into this movie looking for North versus South, Republican versus Democrat, white versus black, because you're not going to get any of that in this movie. What you get from a journalist standpoint, from a photographer standpoint, is chaos with some calm at times, because that's all that is going on. It's utter chaos with some calm in it at times. And no one knows why they're doing what they're doing anymore. They're just doing it. And they point at somebody and say, that's the bad guy, get him. That's it. That's pretty much the entirety of the movie at that point. You got a president that's dropping bombs on his own people. Just like, remember 1984? You see the perpetual warfare. It's stated that Eurasia is dropping a bomb on us, yet we don't know that. We don't know who's dropping the bomb on people daily in 1984. And it's hinted that the government itself is dropping bombs, because we find out that the government created the rebellion. The government created the the person that's speaking up against them. So the person doing the revolution, they created this person just to keep the war going, just to give you somebody to hate, just to give you somebody to go after. And after a while, you buy into it. And pretty much that's what's going on. People are starting to buy into the idea of civil war, and yeah, I'm just gonna go get this person because of this. Or see one character, he has put it in his mind that I know what an American is. And if you've seen the trailer, you get the um, gentleman in the fatigues. He asks, after one of the journalists says, "Well, I'm an American," and he asks him, "Well, what type of American are you?" Because he wants specifics of where you're from, because he's going to determine if you're American enough. And if you're not even from America, that's pretty much it. But he's going to determine if you're American, if you deserve to live in his idea of America. And that's the chaos of the movie. People are just doing things. And it's not under a banner. It's under whatever banner I want it to be under. We got our two main forces, and then we got everybody else who are just fighting under this banner. And at times, just like in war torn countries, you'll see pockets where there's not constant fighting going on. People are still trying to live. And that's the reality of some of these wars. We go to Ukraine and Russia. Yeah, there's some bombing going on, but it's also people day to day life still going to work going on. So I think sometimes, unless it's World War, now World War is something a little bit different. And if you remember the last Civil War here in America, the life was still going on. There were just pockets of fighting in various places. That's a Civil War. World War, yeah, they might drop bombs all over New York because it's a lot different beast and a lot different animal, and it shuts the world down. That's why we call it World War. Now, stuff is still going on if your country just so happens not to be the country that's getting attacked. So the rumor or the idea of this next world war is America will be getting attacked. America will be getting bombed. We won't be outside of the parameters of the war as we have been in the past. Remember, World War II, Pearl Harbor got bombed. World War One, nothing in America got bombed. World War II, nothing really in America got bombed. That was in Hawaii. So we have never really experienced bombing inside of America outside of the Civil War, where we were bombing each other. And even after that, became chaos. You didn't know why you were fighting. You know, it was people that did not know why they were supporting the North. You know, it just becomes total chaos, and that's Civil War. So don't go in this looking for those specific things because you're not going to find them. It's not a lot of action in this movie. This is not just constant people just shooting at each other because that's not the reality of war all the time. You're moving from front to front. So the journalists are going to the front. They're not in the front. They're going to be moving through areas to get to the front, but they're not in the heat of it. There might be pockets where people are fighting, but it's not a constant. But you're dodging all these other elements because you don't know when you might get hit with the chaos. And these journalists, they're seasoned. They, for this 14-month period, had been navigating this. They've seen, you know, the worst of some of the situations, but they haven't seen it all. So in this movie, they kind of get to see some situations, get caught up in some situation where they start to see the worst of what's going on in the Civil War and just how evil people can become under the banner of I'm doing the right thing. And that becomes, you know, kind of one of those things. And you see that, you know, if you watch the movie, as you get closer to the finale, you start to see just what people are willing to do. Just what people are willing to do with each other. Just no care, no concern, just malice. Malice. And I heard somebody say, well, they got the black characters doing it. And it's not that type of movie. Everybody dies in this. White, black, male, female, gay, straight. It doesn't matter. Everybody dies in this. Everybody is playing a role and you don't know how they're perceiving this situation. Some people are just in the game for survival. There's one scene where the sniper's shooting at two mercenaries, because that's what they are at this point. And the journalist asks, well, you know, what side are you on? What side is he on? And, you know, he's trying to be cool with the journalist. And he asks the journalist in training to explain to the seasoned journalist, what the situation is. And she says, well, somebody's shooting at you guys. And he says, that's the situation. There's nothing else in it but that. He's just trying to survive. He's just trying to survive. It's not about sides. We're just in utter chaos at this point. People are trying to survive. People are shooting at each other. Don't even know why. It just falls apart. And that's war. That's war. At the while, it just falls apart. And you can see that in the history of all the wars of stories where, you know, people are just out for self. People are just trying to survive. People will do things under the banner of what they create as the idea of what's right just to get away with some stuff. Or now I can just kill people because, I have my perception of America and, you don't fit that. So, I'm just going to just start popping you. So the film was beautifully shot, beautifully directed. Editing was good. It had some moments where you're like, I hope they don't try to take us here, and they kind of climb their way out of it. But for the most part, I think the story flowed well. Um, we got everything that we were looking for. Some people complain about the end, but like I said, in total chaos after a while, and you've seen so much, who really gives a fuck? Who really gives a fuck? At the end, after you've seen so much, who really gives a fuck? And then you start taking the stance of, man, just kill this motherfucker because you're fed up. You want somebody to blame. And we all are looking for somebody to blame when we are immersed in trauma and chaos. We need somebody to blame. I want that quick payoff for my anger. And I find the payoff in this. I just don't care. I just don't care. So who gives a fuck? And the signals from the journalist site is it's all about a picture. They are totally just numb by, after a while, everything that's going on. I just want to get the picture. I just want to capture that one moment, no matter what. No matter what. Even to the point of risking their lives. And also forgetting how serious and how psychotic some people can be inside of the state of war, because war is a state. It becomes a state of mind. And that's something else that they portray really, really well, that you just in this and you want to be in it. That's your adrenaline. They're shooting at each other. They're shooting at people. They're killing people. You're taking pictures. And you don't even care what the picture is, as long as I get the shot. So definitely one of the best movies so far 2024. I would say is a movie to see. I would say is a movie to see, and don't go in there looking for bang, 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 because this is not bang, 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 bang. This is look at the realities of a thing sometimes. Look at where things can go when chaos ensues. Look at how things can get out of control quickly and people will create their own idea of a situation. That's what Civil War is all about. That's what Civil War is all about. Now they think, now people talking about, well, the election is coming up. In this election, people are just going to pick who they want to vote for. And my view on the politics of America, which is a bunch of BS. So they want it to be right versus left. That's not, like I said before, that's not what this movie is about. This movie is not about right versus left. This movie is not about politics. It's just about the world in a level of chaos that is not managed. And although you think you got a good guy Who's to say they're good guys when they can flip and just become as tyrannical as the other person? Who knows? And you got everybody else in the middle. Who knows? Mr. Mahdi, Back Road Ministry, peace and hair grease.